All right, everybody, back again. So we're bringing back the West Ham, American West Ham supporter interviews. This is how we started American Hammers TV in the beginning, back in January of 2019. We would interview different Americans to try to unearth these West Ham supporters that are here, because Lee and I had this little back and forth, my co-founder and I, about how he didn't feel that there really was many of us. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to prove you wrong. There's tons of us. It's just we need to connect the dots. So that's what we did, and that's what we started on. And then all of a sudden we got distracted with game shows, and which we're going to bring back. Yeah, and these panel shows, and we started having people from all over the world on American Hammers Network, which is kind of cool. And we've met some of the coolest people. We've done trips overseas. Eventually, before the pandemic, we were going to do a special gathering, an American Hammers gathering. But then, the pandemic happened. But anyway, long story short, we're going to do that again once we're able to. But so here we are today. Tell us about yourself, and tell us how on earth did you become a West Ham supporter?
Good question. I'm only just starting to enjoy it now, to be honest. So I was born in East London and lived there until 24, and then I came to the States, and I'm 41 now. My dad was born in Israel, and he fell in love with Alan Devonshire. So he had a choice about not being from England to picking a top team. Yeah. And I guess back then we had some unbelievable players, but he fell in love with Alan Devonshire, and then from 8 years old, for about 15 years, we had a season ticket. We went home in most away games, and that's the biggest thing that I miss, family aside, from being in England. To be honest, just going to those games, I miss it a lot.
So how long have you been here? I'm sorry.
So I came over in 2004. So I wasn't really full time until 2010. I was going back and forth, but I came over with a lot of Brits come over with a coaching capacity. Yeah. So I came over Major League Soccer at the time and did about 30 states, and came back to the East Coast to actually coach to work for Tony DeChico, who's since passed, won the World Cup, won the Women's World Cup and Olympic gold medal, for those that don't know. And got involved in that, and now I find myself in Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut. How do you like that? I mean, it's different, no?
Yeah.
New England in general, really, it's its own little world.
Yeah, I mean, there's similar places, I guess, but I live in Farmington, Connecticut right now. It's a beautiful place, and let's just say that I grew up in an area that wasn't as nice on the eye. It was in East London.
Yeah. Oh man. No, that's great. So living in Connecticut, have you? And you've been all around though, haven't you? You've been all around the States. No?
I have, but I've spent most of my time in Connecticut. That's where I live now, and with my wife and my kids, and who are American. But I have been all around. But Connecticut's been my base.
Have you been to any of the? Have you ever been to a supporters group, or any? Have you seen any matches with other West Ham supporters?
No, I've met very few. Even when it was just I was working with lots of Brits, I met very few West Ham fans, and I know a couple now. One is in Danbury, Connecticut. There's a couple littered around the country, but when I go and watch games, I'll go to maybe with other people, support other teams, and obviously wear my West Ham top proudly. Yeah. But when I first came over, everyone was into Chelsea. Obviously, all the money got plugged in. Now, then it became Man City. So West Ham was that if I saw a West Ham top anywhere, it was unbelievable, because I very rarely did.
Yeah, and that's there's actually we're really good friends now. Clearly, with a lot of Brits who moved over here. The guy who founded the Chicago Hammers is an expat. I mean, he's one of the most amazing dudes that we know, and he started his own group, and they're one of the stronger groups, I'd say, within the top 10 strongest groups in the country.
Yeah.
I've been to. I said this in the last show, and so the viewers may have already heard the story a million times, but I'm telling you that. I visited the Tampa Hammers. I visited the Dallas Hammers. I visited, DC Irons, Columbus E13, which is in Ohio.
Yeah.
And, the Philly Hammers, Boston, et cetera, et
That's
cetera.
awesome.
A bunch of these different groups. And then obviously we've had relationships with, via this, with, the Fresno Irons, the Dallas, not Dallas, I'm sorry. I already said that, the Alamo City Hammers in Texas and so on. And then the one in Denver, Mile High Hammers. I mean, some of these groups are massive, dude. I mean, like at the minimum, they get like 20 people, together wearing the West Ham tops, and then also some of these groups will visit they'll do away days like in town, like whatever city they're from. They'll go to like the Liverpool pub when we're playing Liverpool. Just to, just feel something different. You know what I'm saying? Like to actually try to feel an away day. And
That's
a lot
right.
of groups also have Brits that are living there now, or who are visiting these cities and say, "Hey, where can I watch a West Ham match?" Other supporters, and it's really, really, really cool, man. There's a lot of us, and the guy that I was talking about, my co-founder, he's in the chat right now watching this. Lee. We've gone to a few ourselves. We visited the Boston Hammers. We've also done a few of our own, like up in New Hampshire. I also go to his house. He has another West Ham supporter up in New Hampshire that comes down and visits, and there'll just be the three of us sometimes. Up to Dover, New Hampshire, where a couple other people we've never even met before would meet us there, and it was just it's the coolest thing. There are a lot of us, and in New England too. Like I'll see West Ham stickers on someone's car, and yes, I'll follow them. Until they make a turn, I can't go there. I was telling the guy in the last show too that I saw a dude in a grocery store, wearing a West Ham hat. And I'm like, dude, like, let's go. And Lee told me that he left a note on someone's car because he saw a West Ham sticker on their car.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Shout out American Hammers. So, dude.
I saw someone a couple of years ago. I saw someone in the mall in West Hartford in Connecticut. Like I was upstairs, saw him down. I ran downstairs because I was like, "What you do? Like, what's going on?" And he was just passing through on holiday, like on vacation, wearing a West Ham top. He thought I was crazy, but I said to him, I've been here for so many years and I don't see West Ham stuff. Maybe we will now because we've started to be pretty successful. We're having a great couple of years. So maybe we'll start seeing other people interested in us the same way that we started seeing Leicester City shirts once they won the league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, when we go to retail stores, we'll see Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United, Chelsea stuff sitting there, or not some, which is weird. I don't see Man City stuff still, but I see Man United stuff still. So that's why I love meeting them more than anybody else because we can make them cry. But anyway, so we have Neil who's watching the show right now. He's in Australia right now. Like
awesome!
It's like 4 something in the morning, like 4:30, 4:40 in the morning right there. But yeah, he's one of our loyals, and we sent him an American Hammer scarf, and then he took a picture of it. I mean,
quality.
Yeah, in South Australia, that was fucking cool. We have another guy who watches us from New Zealand. We've spoken to people from Germany, from Russia, from all over the world, man, and a lot of our good friends from the UK as well. But
we're massive, of course.
Yeah, but they're all good people. That's the best part.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's fantastic. Like some of the groups that you mentioned, I've seen pop up now and again. Maybe it's when you're the American Hammers, when you like something on Twitter. I see it, and I'm always thinking I should start something in Connecticut. I should start a Hammers thing in Connecticut because because I either watch it with other football fans, other soccer fans, or I watch it on my own.
Yeah. So, your day job is coaching, right? Pretty much.
Well, I'm an athletic director, so
okay.
I still do coaching, but yeah, mainly it's the boring administrative side of sports here. But yeah, so I work in a school in Connecticut.
You try to convince the kids or whoever, the students to follow West Ham?
Well, they always bring up games, so they watch the games because you can now. So they always bring up the results and things like that, and and every time I meet families and stuff who support other teams, the topic of conversation is how well we're doing. Almost that surprise element. But yeah, I haven't turned anyone yet.
So talk about the current season. Do Do you think this little dip in form is our true self, or do you think we're going to snap out of it and get back to the way things were like just a few weeks ago?
Well, I mean, Moyes has made me a believer because I was definitely one of them who didn't want him back.
Yeah.
But Moyes has made me a believer, so you have to believe that it is just a dip in form. But I get frustrated on social media when things aren't going that well, especially when we're fourth in the league, qualified for the Europa knockout stages, in the quarterfinals of the career. But like, it's amazing, and we mix it up all the time. Like even against Man City, where you don't have the ball, playing Matsuaku over Bowen, who I love Bowen, was actually really good because how many times did Cancelo and Walker get in the half space? How many times did they get into those areas? It was only when they broke the press and Sterling was 1v1 against Johnson or Mahrez that we really were under enormous pressure. So
Yeah.
the short answer is yes. We will turn it around. It's we're not getting. I grew up to games where that Man City game would have been 3-4-0 at half time. Those games where we just would have dropped, where you just know you're going to lose, or once that first goal in. But yeah, I mean, he's built a team of fighters, and that's the culture. So I believe that we will turn it around, and I think we'll beat Chelsea tomorrow. But I think that every game we play.
Exactly, and that's always been my mentality too. Like even when we had Pellegrini or Slavin, and that's what made me so frustrated. And that's, oh man, like all the time, like on paper, you would think that man, no, we got the ability, man. We got the
absolutely.
And the majority of the old school West Ham supporters who would view our show and would always tell us that we're out of our mind because it's same old West Ham. It's the West Ham way. I mean, we beat the big guys once in a while, we'll draw them, and then we lose to the easy ones. And I'm like, but can't that change at some point? Like, obviously, Moyes kind of changed it a bit, right?
Yeah, we're not pushovers anymore.
Yeah,
we're not pushovers anymore. Like, in any of the games, we've been in them. Whether the performance hasn't been good, scoreline will tell you we've been in them. And even against Brighton, we weren't great. Brighton are very good on the ball, so we weren't great. But look at the first half. Like Bowen, ball fell at his feet from 1 yard out. He couldn't get his footwork. Fornals within half an inch scores that unbelievable volley. And we're talking about a completely different game that Brighton couldn't find their breath in the first half.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating. But yeah, I absolutely believe, and I think if we had this conversation a couple of years ago and prior to that, be that a small moment with Alan Pardew when we first came up, I would say to you that I don't know if he will turn it around. But yeah, I mean, it's great. This is the best time I've been alive to be a West Ham fan, without a doubt.
So, growing up, who were some of your favorite players?
Oh, Paolo Di Canio. It's not even close. I met him as well. I was there when he scored that goal against Wimbledon. I was there at Old Trafford when we beat them 1-0 in the Cup, and Barthez put his hand up saying it was offside. There was 9,000 West Ham fans. We were breaking seats because everyone was jumping on each other. I've been there when we also lost 6-0 as well. But Di Canio is my all-time favourite. I loved players like Julian Dix. I loved players like that. Going way back as well, players like Peter Butler, who I follow on Twitter, who's coaching now, and Martin Allen and George Paris. I love players like that. But Di Canio is number one. Now, Fornals, I'm a huge fan of Fornals. He just is everything that I want in a West Ham player. He doesn't stop. He just does not stop. And he was still good when he wasn't scoring. I think fans just expected something different from a Spanish player.
Maybe. Yeah, my gripe was that if sometimes, rarely, but it's sometimes, it's like, was he even on the team sheet? Like, you don't see him at all. I mean, he just blends in. You know what I'm saying? Not that he wasn't doing anything. I'm just saying, like, he seems to blend.
He does so much work, though. Yeah, I just think his link up between the back four or back three or five when we had it, and the next stage, or the pass before the pass, and his work rate is unbelievable. He breaks up play. He does a lot of the unglamorous stuff, which isn't always associated with a Spanish player, especially someone who came with like a high level of goals and things like that. I just think because I remember Noble saying you always hear him saying stuff like he tells players that as long as you work as hard as you can, the fans will love you.
Yeah.
Fornals is the epitome of that right now. The absolute epitome of that. And I think he's just getting a bit more credit because he's finding the back of the net and the team's winning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love him.
Cool. I'm going to pull up a few of the comments from the viewers in the chat. There's a couple of interesting ones here. So Neil from Down Under says, West Ham are a work in progress under Moyes, and we have progressed so far in quick time too. But Moyes is a long-term plan for West Ham, and with recent changes on the board, I'm liking our journey. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Moyes said the other day, it's been 18 months. Look at the turnaround. So I completely agree with it. I think, and after the last game against Brighton, my friends in the UK and stuff who went to the game said there were a few boos. But I think it's just disappointment. I think people are just frustrated. I don't think it's like that necessary fickle football fan these days. They were just disappointed, but we're still sitting fourth. And yeah, I agree with what Neil just said.
Yeah, me too. And I love Neil. I wish he had better internet and down, South Australia, because we've tried having him on a few times, but Neil, we love you, man. We'd love to have you back on at some point. So hopefully they send a tower. Actually, we should do a GoFundMe for a cell tower or a Wi-Fi tower or something, or some hardline internet. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We definitely need to get you back on, because he's always has great insight in our chats, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is. He's always in our chats. I love
That's
him.
awesome. Yeah.
Matt says that he was lucky enough to see Trevor Brooking play. His dad always says he loves seeing Bobby Moore play. Yeah,
legends, both of them. Lucky enough to see players like that. Unbelievable. My dad would always talk about Brooking and Bobby Moore, but Devonshire was his favourite. But yeah, I remember when Trevor Brooking took over that interim role from Glenn Roeder when I was a season ticket holder to get us to the end of the season. I think we still got relegated, but yeah, legend.
Martin was in our previous show. He's just saying as his wife's doing dinner shortly. Love in the chat. Appreciate it, Martin. These are fun, man. I'm glad to be doing these again. I'm glad Avi came on, and Zach before. That was a good interview. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. I see some fresh faces in this chat. So if you haven't seen the other interview, it's there. It's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. No, YouTube. Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. There you go. They stream simultaneously live, and then they're there after the fact. They just float. And a lot of our viewers check the stuff out after the fact. Except these early shows, I do notice that a lot more of our UK and overseas guests tune in, which is great, because most people in America are working right now.
Yeah, that's right. Hence why I'm wearing the black one and not the claret, because it would stand out like a sore thumb under my shirt.
So let's see here. Booing the players is insane. Really, yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So if you guys have any questions for Avi, please feel free in the chat, and I'll pull them up. Or if you have any other cool comments, please do. But let's talk more about the chances, I guess you'd say. You see us finishing top 6, or you still see us having a chance of top 4 this season?
Well, I see us finishing top 6, but I mean, we've got a dream, right? That Spurs are in that sort of transitional stuttering period, and
Arsenal's playing better.
Arsenal are playing better, but there's still something missing from that team. There's still, you can see it. There's still something missing. Obviously, Man United are going to be a different animal now, more organised. But we haven't won for 3 games, and we're still in 4th. But I think if anything of the games to go by, then I think we'll be fighting all the way to the end. The one thing that I'm sure every Hammer is thinking, it's the same thing. And Antonio has had a little bit of a dip in form. He was very ineffective against Brighton.
Very.
But that's the thing that's always going to come under play as soon as he goes out. If he doesn't hit scoring or playing well, or he gets inevitably injured, that is always going to come back to bite Moyes. And I think that's the one criticism he's getting from everyone, fans anyway, who don't know what happens day to day, of not having someone to put that pressure on Antonio, or that replacement for when he inevitably, or hopefully doesn't, but gets injured. That's the only doubt. If keeping Rice fit, keeping him fit, and definitely keeping Zuma fit now that Ogbonna's out for the season, will determine whether we stay in that top 4.
Great signing, man. I love Zuma.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Matt is bringing up a point here that, or a question, I guess, or a point. Yeah, it looks like a point that you're discussing, but also it seems that a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of the criticism is like, do we need an out and out striker? Like, you know what I'm saying? An actual striker in January.
Yeah, but last January we said the same thing, and he bought Lingard, or he loaned Lingard, and I wasn't in love with that one. And then look what happened.
Yeah.
So I would now we're being linked with Tarkowski from Burnley that we're always linked with, and his contract's coming up. I would happily take Lingard and Tarkowski over a striker that is unproven in the Premier League, because Bowen can do a job there, and I mean we could play with that false nine, I guess. Although that doesn't really suit how we press. I mean, yeah, I'd love a striker, but he's not going to play with. He's not going to play with two up front, is he?
No, and also like you said with Lingard, I mean he scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, and Ben Rama goes to the African Cup of Nations. Getting Lingard in for 10 million, as we've been linked, getting him in January will be huge. Just having look what against Brighton, we lacked that. Not plan B, but just that fresh approach, the player that driving at them. It didn't quite work for Ben Rama. It wasn't quite working for us in the second half. I mean, if you're asking me to put money on it, I'd say top 6. But we've got it. If this isn't the season where we dream for bigger things, right now, losing 3 games or not winning in 3 and being in the top 4, like if this isn't the moment we dream, then I don't know when is.
Yeah. We have a question here from Mississippi Hammers, who I believe is. It's our good friend Alex. He asks, how do you view the talent level of women's soccer in the US versus UK?
That's a great question. I mean, the talent level's better in the UK now because there's more funding going into it. When I first came over in 2004, and actually a lot of years after that, it was non-existent in the UK, and people were almost surprised when I said I'm coaching females. And don't understand the level of that female athlete and that female soccer player in this country. I do think the rest of the world is catching up and potentially has caught up. And you can see that when the US women play now, they're still fantastic, but there's also other teams that make it into a fine line. But there's more money into grassroots and more money for the female athletes. But the way it's perceived, the way it's spoken about on broadcasts, on things like that, they're just beginning to talk about it now. They're just beginning to have more female pundits, female soccer players commentating on men's games, things like that can engage the younger athlete. But UK's still way behind, but it's getting there.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Lee interviewed 3 of the West Ham women's players at the time, 2 of which were Americans. Because like I said, at the time, they actually had 3 Americans, but we got 2 plus they had an English goalkeeper that was staying with them, which was fantastic. And we also have a show that hasn't been on in a little while, but we're going to try to bring it back. That was We Are the Women in Claret and Blue. It was solely discussing, the West Ham women's team. You know what I'm saying? Because it's West Ham, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to introduce that to the American viewership too. Like, listen, not only have they had Americans, I mean, even Matt Beard, who was the coach at the time when we first started doing this,
from Boston,
he coached the Boston Breakers.
That's right.
Boston,
something. Yeah, no, he did Breakers. Yeah,
Breakers. Yeah, he coached. You know what I'm saying? So it was some American connection there too, and I know a lot of Americans were noticing that they love their American connection. I mean, that's why there's also a lot of Americans that follow Chelsea because of Pulisic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
Etc. So. But no, that was cool, and we hope to do that again, bring that back, because that was really fun. Allie, who was the host, and Reese, I mean, very informative, very smart, very intelligent, and they would go to the matches. You know what I'm saying? They would see it firsthand and give their experiences to our viewers, which is pretty cool.
Well, it definitely wasn't an option for me growing up. And I have a daughter now, so when I next go over there with her, that would be something I'd look to do with her. But
Yeah, I mean, same. I would love to just go over there and check on a match. I remember the last time I went over there, I was thinking about it, but they were playing away the week that I was there, and I was going to 2 home matches, and you know what I'm saying, I couldn't schedule an away match to Birmingham City or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. Matt seems to think that he did. I don't think Lingard will come with Rangnick, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
Man United. Really?
I don't know. He's that high energy new manager coming in. The thing is that Lingard has 6 months left on his deal, so he is going to have to convince Lingard that he is a first team. Getting a number of minutes is an important part of his plans for him to sign a new deal.
Yeah,
because I think a lot has to happen between now and January. Lingard, we'll see in the next couple of games. I think how much Lingard gets from the bench. Does he start any of them? Because if he doesn't, I still think Lingard, they're going to have to sell in January. Otherwise, he'll go on a free.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's get into the rapid fire questions. Actually, yeah. Let's let me pull these up. So first and foremost, meat pie or apple pie?
Oh, meat pie.
See, yeah, there you go. Obviously, most of the Americans, you know what I'm saying? Like, they usually say apple pie. Like, what is meat pie?
Yeah.
What's your favorite type?
Favorite what? Sorry.
Your favorite type of meat pie?
I'd say steak and kidney.
That's come up quite a few times.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite current West Ham player?
Pablo Fornals.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Who frustrates you the most in the current West Ham squad?
I'd say Ben Rama because he's in my fantasy team, and he just you just want that. You want that maverick. You want that creative player that can do something out of nothing, and he hasn't quite done it recently. So Ben Rama.
FA Cup or top 4 finish?
Yeah. That is a brilliant question. I'm going to say FA Cup, and I went to the Liverpool one when Gerrard scored, and we lost on penalties. The only reason I say FA Cup is since I've been alive, apart from the Intertoto Cup, which doesn't count, or the Betway Cup, that certainly doesn't count. We haven't won a trophy, and I'm 41, and I've been going since I was 8 years old, and obviously in Connecticut now. But I'd say FA Cup because I'd fly home for it. Both? Can I say both?
Yeah. I mean, trust me, that happens all the time. Fremer says who frustrates him most at the West Ham? Social media fans. Twitter, I would say Twitter is probably the most vicious. And Matt also says I was there too. The best team. Yeah, well, we've had Paul Konchesky on our show, and
oh wow,
we talked to him about that, and that was quite the experience. Lee and I we interviewed him. It was great. So go back, check that out if you want. The next question is, what team do you love to beat? Obviously, more than any other team.
Spurs.
Good man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met American Tottenham supporters?
Yes. One of them lives around the corner to me. Yeah.
They're the worst, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. Name a player, past or present, that epitomizes West Ham.
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like there's so many. I mean, past or present. Mark Noble. I remember Julian Dix is an easy one, I think, to go to. Yeah. The Terminator, but I think of other players like, wow, I'm going to think of a better one when we leave, when we stop. There's I think of Steve Potts, Captain Quiet. He was our captain in. He's playing centre back as well. He coached for a bit. I think he drives a black cab now in London. He coached at West Ham for a bit though. His son plays for Luton, I think.
He's come up a few times. Yeah, that name come up a few times. And also right here, Martin says Billy Bonds.
Yeah, I'm thinking absolutely. I'm thinking of ones that I had the opportunity of watching. But yeah, Bonds definitely.
Julian, DiCanio, Cotty. We've heard a lot. Of different choices. There's no wrong answer, obviously.
Yeah. I don't think DiCanio is though. I think that's why we love him so much, because he was this unique player that could just be a world beater on his day. But I think of players that just constantly run up, and like Sebastian Schemmel, the French right back we had, Tim Breaker, up the chicken run and the East Stand, like players that would just give their all, non-stop running, whatever the score.
Yeah. The final question is, if you could take a time machine to go back to experience anything to do with West Ham, when and where would you go? Again, no wrong answer.
No, I've got two that
Sure.
come to my head. The first one is when we beat Man United in the Cup 1-0. Paolo Di Canio scored, very famous, when Barthez was trying to pretend he was offside. We beat United 1-0. Amazing to be like, to win at Man United in the Cup away from home, unbelievable. But you know what? Ipswich at home in the playoff second leg when Christian Daly scored the winner, Upton Park was bouncing. It was, I've never experienced it like it was rocking. But I'm gonna go Old Trafford, Di Canio scoring the winner.
Awesome, man. All right. So if people want to, Americans or even, people abroad or whatever want to follow you on Twitter, like what's your Twitter name?
Avi Magic 31.
Avi Magic 31. All right, cool.
Avi Magic 31, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, because you're mostly on Twitter, right? I mean, that's where I found you. Yeah. So
right.
if you want to converse with Avi, like, check that out. And also, Avi, like I'm gonna say it on the air. I mean, you're more than welcome to come back anytime on any of our other panel shows.
Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And thanks to everybody in the chat room. We had Ray and Neil and Fremer and Martin and even Lee was here. Alex was here. I mean, great stuff today. I appreciate it. And we got to go now. But stay tuned. I think there's we're gonna do 2 shows this weekend. I don't know who's doing them, but there's gonna be 2 shows this weekend because obviously we're playing a match. So I'm hoping the post-match guys do their show because they missed the last one. So last couple actually. So we did crack the whip on those guys. But check it out, and also make sure you're subscribed to American Hammers TV. Or American Hammers Network on YouTube. Make sure you follow us all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you go to our shop. We have different supporters groups, merchandise, and also some random West Ham related merchandise in our Threadless shop. So it's ahtv.threadless.com. If you buy something having to do with a particular supporters group, like say the Boston Hammers or the DC Irons or whoever, part of that money goes to them, to help support them, so that they can, buy around for everybody. I don't know. But yeah, it's really cool. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you like this video and comment and share it and subscribe it, blah, 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 blah. Abby, I'll talk to you real quick off the air. And then, everybody else, come on, you Irons.
Thanks, Tim.